And we are live. What is going on, LBHT crew? Listen, hey, it ain't pretty, but it's us. Am I right? Look, man, this is what we were discussing on Wednesday. This is what we've been saying for about 2 years now. This is the problem that we have with John Harbaugh, right? He never has his team prepared for these type of games. If it's a big game, like when we go play 49ers this year, they're gonna be ready. I'm gonna pick them right now to win that game. They're probably gonna win that game. Those are the type of games that they win. These games that should be a blowout, that should look like that Miami and Denver game, these are the games that we just flat out lose because he cannot get them. Yeah, you're right, Callie. Out coached. He can never get them prepared week in and week out. It's okay if you're playing a little ugly at the start. You go into halftime, you make your adjustments, and you come out and you do what you need to do to get the win. That's what championship caliber teams do. You know what championship caliber teams don't do? They don't lose to an also hurt team in the Colts and their backup, Gardner Minshew. They don't lose at home in overtime.
Yeah, but Baltimore can't use the injury excuse in this game because the Colts are hurt worse than they are.
Well, that's what I said. And also, that's what I said. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Hurt team.
They're hurt worse. They lost more important players than Baltimore did. It was a bad performance all the way around.
What's up, Shug?
Hey, Shug, how you doing, man? Hope you're enjoying yourself. But yeah, you got Lamar making bad decisions. You got the line not blocking. You got guys not catching the ball. You got another all-star linebacker getting beat by another running back for a touchdown.
A backup running back. You had your backup running. They had a backup quarterback, a backup running back in there, backup center, right? Like they're banged up, like you said, worse than us.
Hey, but listen, man, at least y'all could get that number 14 overall safety to rush the passer.
Cool. Look, I mean, I'm not even gonna throw any shade at Kyle Hamilton. He played an excellent game.
No,
not
just
yeah. I mean, also with the coverage too. I mean, I thought he did a good job with that.
Yeah, but look, it's not about Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah,
it's about why are you taking a safety at 14 just to blitz him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why don't you get an edge rusher? Why don't you try to put a defense out on the field that can actually get pressure on the other team?
Well, that's the other thing too. It seemed like we could only get pressure when we sent the blitz.
Yeah.
And they were getting pressure no matter what. And when they sent the blitz, they were definitely getting to the quarterback. This is the second time I'm pointing this out. Do we not know how to pick up blitzes? Right? Like I know people are try to say, hey, Lamar's got an audible out of it, but there's a couple of times he did. He tried to audible to a run and then we didn't get anything. There are times where he tried to get the ball out quick and the receivers aren't ready for the ball. Right. Do we not practice blitzes? So like again, Giro's not here anymore. So Giro can't be blamed for this. You guys already know I'm not 100% in on Tom Monken. But again, this ultimately falls on John Harbaugh. What the hell are you doing with this team? Right. Also EDC, because I've become a non-EDC fan at this point. These are players that you handpicked.
Are you sure it's not Greg Roman? Because Lamar did lead the team in carries and yards again.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when their game plan doesn't work. Because you can't blame Lamar. Lamar started out the game 10 for 10 passing. Mm-hmm. He was completing his passes. They weren't well-designed plays. He wasn't. The plays need time to develop. He wasn't getting that time. He was getting sacked a lot. The O-line looked awful. Right, and I understand you're missing Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum. Oh, hey, who was it? Blunts and Otters that was trying to throw shade at Ronnie. Hey, how you feel about Ronnie now? Would you rather have Macari out there still? I'm curious because he got whooped today. No, I'm not pissed. I'm irritated with EDC and Harbaugh because I already know what kind of front office we have and coaching staff that we have. Right. Harbaugh's not a bad coach, but this is not somebody that we're going to win another Super Bowl with, right? We got lucky. right? We got lucky. We had some of the greatest players to ever play this game on the defensive side of the ball, making one last push, and they pushed Joe Flacco to the finish line. Granted, Joe Flacco never played that well ever again, but he put it all together for a magical run, and that's what did it for us. And since then, Harbaugh, he's gotten us to the playoffs. We've had a little bit of success with Lamar. We should have a lot more than what we have, but what we see in the situations like this where nothing's working, we're just going to rely on Lamar's legs, because that's all that was, right? Yeah. They can't run the ball because J.K. Dobbins is hurt. They didn't bother getting any other running back in free agency. Now, Gus went out. Justice Hill's already out. They pick up Drake London off the street. You kept Melvin Gordon around for who knows what, but you don't want to give them the ball. One, because Drake London fumbled the ball, so he's done. He's in the doghouse.
The second time, that's Kenyon Drake.
Drake London. Kenyon Drake
is a very talented wide receiver in Atlanta. You'd be lucky to have him.
Yes. That was Freudian slip. Freudian slip. I want Drake London. I want Drake London on the team, but Kenyon Drake fumbled the ball once, and that was pretty much it for him, right? I think he had one other catch or carry or whatever. Melvin Gordon, he got a couple of runs, but they're skittish running the ball because they know they don't have the top running backs out there. It didn't have to be this way.
No, and this is what we talked about on the roundup a few weeks ago now, that they should have been looking to go after Jonathan Taylor or Austin Eckler or something like that, because those guys that they have on the team are just guys. And particularly when you start talking about Melvin Gordon and Kenyon Drake, those aren't guys that you want to rely on when you need to make plays, right? And Odell was out. I understand that Bateman got hurt at some point. I didn't see Bateman actually get hurt, but he was out of the game late. Yeah. I think he got hurt in the game as well. And that's what we talked about before the season as well. What happened? Everybody's like, don't need DeAndre Hopkins. You got 4 first-round wide receivers, blah, blah. What happens when somebody gets hurt? And what happens is you roll out there and nobody – look, Zay Flowers has shown a lot of ability. He's made some plays, but nobody's afraid of Zay Flowers at this point, right? I don't think anybody's ever really afraid of Mark Andrews, but, defenses know they can take away Mark Andrews if they have to. And that's what happened at the end of the game. They had 3rd and 3, and Lamar hits Isaiah Likely, and Isaiah Likely drops the ball.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
The next play, the referees take it away from Baltimore. But they right now they are banged up. Obviously, they're missing guys due to injury on the O-line and the backfield at wide receiver. But this is why you go overboard in acquiring talent for your team, for your quarterback specifically. Tua is not the quarterback that Lamar is in any way. Tua put up 70 points today.
Yeah. Now, revisionist history will tell you, people will tell you, oh yeah, Tua, Tua was always better than Lamar. He didn't get this good until he got Tyreek Hill. Okay. And that's what happens when you get that kind of talent on your team. He can make that kind of difference for you. Right. And good for Tua. I like Tua. Right. Mm-hmm. I think good young quarterbacks, if you're smart, you get talented wide receivers, and you protect them with a good O-line. You protect your investment. That's what the Bills did with Josh Allen. Right. They blew out Washington today as well, right? Yeah. I know people are they kind of jump on Josh Allen, but he's had a lot of success with the Bills, right? Thanks in part because they made sure they protected him, and they made sure they got him one of the best wide receivers in the league, right? We're finally giving this team a little praise. Well, some of y'all want to give this team a lot of praise because they got Odell, who we don't know what kind of Odell we're going to get. I feel good about him, long term, or for the rest of the season. I feel good about Zay Flowers. I even feel good about Rashad Bateman. But none of those guys are Stephon Diggs. None of those guys are Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson, right? Then none of those guys that we know can be a game changer. We're hoping, we're projecting a little bit, but we don't know. So, we're not hating on EDC. We're not hating on Harbaugh. We're calling it like we see it, right? Harbaugh is not the coach you guys think he is. He's not that good of a coach. He doesn't get the team prepare for these type of games. I'm not surprised by this loss at all. He does this all the time. This should have been a blowout. This should have been a game, the first like the first drive, or it was first and second drive where we scored a touchdown. That's pretty much how the game should have went. But the team just wasn't locked in. That's all it was. You have Mustapher snapping the ball like he's in college. What is that? Macari whiffing on blocks. Mustapher whiffing on another block where it's supposed to be a draw. He gets, and Lamar gets sacked. I mean, it's all kinds of just stupid mistakes, stupid penalties, right? Those are things that are coach related, not talent related. So, look, they thought they could do it on a little shorthanded with talent. They thought that the guys that were out there be disciplined enough, like your starters would be, but they weren't. This is where coaches are supposed to come in. So, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, and it just confirms kind of what we were afraid of in the offseason and what we talked about, that they weren't changing in the front office, right? They went out and they got Odell Beckham because Lamar essentially forced them to. Held them hostage, like people were saying, in the offseason. They still want to, and John Harbaugh in particular, they still want to be we're gonna pound the rock and beat you on defense, and it's just not a thing in this league, man. Like they ran the ball more than they threw it today, and I don't know. It's ridiculous to watch a team turn around and hand the ball to Gus Edwards, and hand the ball to Melvin Gordon and be like, this is our offense, and then say, hey, you know what, we're going to hand it over to our defense and hope that, despite all the available evidence in front of us, we're going to hope that nobody can ever move the ball or score on you.
Yeah. Just this is you go back to Marty Morningwig, to Giro, to now Tom Monken. And, Monken, through the first couple of games, the offense looked like it's making a change, transitioning to something different. This looked like classic Harbaugh ball, right? Because that's the common denominator between all three of these offensive coaches is John Harbaugh. And he's the one that wants to be conservative. He's the one that's like, hey, don't give it to the running back. I want you to run, but don't give it to the running back because I don't want him on the ball. So Lamar's got to run it to pick up the first down, to score a touchdown, right? Because you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your OCs that you hire. You don't trust the O-line to protect. You know what I'm saying? It's a combination of those things. You ultimately you don't trust your coaching staff to have a more advanced offense out there, because even at the end of the game, right? Yes, it was a pass interference, granted, but 4th and 3, he threw like a 2.5-yard pass, right? That's the route.
It was like 4. It was like 4. It was beyond the sticks.
But. I mean, even before that, like the passes that you're doing before that, why can't you draw plays for guys to get open? I know Zay Flowers can get open. I know what Nelson Aguilar can get open. He showed you last week, right? Mm-hmm. I know Bateman before he got hurt. I know he can get open. Why aren't you drawing up plays that can get these guys some separation, right? Where is Mark Andrews in all of this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have talent, and it's just I just don't see anything out there. It looked like, again, it looked like we just don't practice.
And Z the Beast, well, thanks for coming through. He says Lamar can't miss those 2 quick slants at the end of the game, also, or 2. And look, you don't want your quarterback missing throws. Every quarterback misses throws. Lamar made the last 2 throws of the game.
Yeah.
One was a drop and one was pass interference that wasn't called. Right. But that's not even the point. The point is, why do you run a game plan that is, apparently Gus did not trend into Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey this week. So Lamar, please save us again.
Yeah.
Right. Because, if you look at Lamar's numbers, 22 for 31, 200 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns rushing. He had he fumbled a couple times. They lost one, right? They didn't have anybody else who was really productive. And that's always been the case with Baltimore. I thought it was going to be changing with Monken coming in, and Odell and Zay and Bateman and everything. But obviously, like I said, they had some injuries today. The biggest thing in this game was the O-line not really holding up. This is kind of what I thought last week against Cincinnati, and it didn't really manifest there. But again, you'll have these kind of games, right, where things just aren't really clicking. But the better teams in the league have to be able to make the plays that you need to make to win it. The plays were there for them. Most of the plays they didn't make, but and again, and I know people don't like to say refs cost you a game or anything like that, but the reality is that you're playing against the Colts, and they're all humans. They're all going to make mistakes. Lamar's going to make mistakes. Mustafa's going to make mistakes. McCarry's going to make mistakes. Queen, likely they're all going to make mistakes, right? And the refs are human too, and they're going to make mistakes. But the difference is they have the ability to fix those mistakes, and the league is just like, no, we're not going to do that. So you can't. The reality is, you call that pass interference on Zay Flowers, which is what it was. And the Ravens they're first and 10, and they can run it 3 times, kick a field goal, and win.
Yeah.
And then this is a totally different conversation. Yeah, you'd like them to make you like your team to make every play, but it's never going to happen. Every team makes mistakes. You're going to have that every single week. You're going to have missed opportunities. But the point is, in Baltimore, they plan to win game 7-6.
Yes. I'm about to say, even if we won the game, you still be getting the same rant right now. And me and B talked about this offline. Like, we weren't happy, going into the fourth quarter. We're actually going into halftime, how this game is being played, because we're just tired of seeing the same thing over and over. Like, we know how it is with John Harbaugh-led teams when playing a team that we believe is a lesser opponent, right? They mail it in and try to do the bare minimum and win these close games, right? And you slip up. To them, it's no big deal, right? Because in their mind, hey, when we get everybody back healthy, we'll make a run. And they probably will. Look, Lamar always wins more than he loses. As long as Lamar's healthy, we'll make the playoffs. But again, how are you preparing your team week in and week out, right? How does this help us when we get to the playoff? And guys have to execute, because that's the difference between regular season and playoff football. Is the game's just a little bit faster, executing a little bit better, right? Because by that point, everybody knows what to do. Everybody understands what they need to do. And the teams that understand just a little bit less, those are the ones that lose. We're always the ones that understand just a little bit less, because we don't instill discipline.
They don't, and they are not actively trying to win. And that is, if you're a fan, I'm not a Ravens fan, but just, I have to watch the Ravens quite a bit, and we talk about the Ravens quite a bit, and it is infuriating because you look at the teams who are actively trying to win, and you see how easy they can make the game for their quarterback when they want to. When Travis Kelce's out there, the game is easy for the Chiefs, right? When Tyreek Hill is out there, they didn't even have Jalen Waddle today, mind you. They didn't even have Jalen Waddle, and they dropped 70 on Denver.
Yeah.
When Brock Purdy runs out there, the game is easy for him because they have so many pressure off of him, and they just don't believe in that in Baltimore. Like, they don't believe in getting the best playmakers they can on offense. They don't believe in making sure that they're building a wall around Lamar, and I don't understand why.
Yeah. Let me read a couple of comments here, man. Shout out to Poon Gent, who is a Cleveland fan. Cleveland won today. Salute. So they're 2-1. We're tied with Cleveland. All right. Says defense in here, Cleveland. What's up, guys? Ford showed out today talking about Zay Flowers. I hope he shows up for the rest of the season. I think he will. I think you're talking about Zay Flowers. He might be talking about somebody.
No. I think he's talking about Watson.
Oh, Watson. Is Watson 4?
I believe so.
He's 4. Okay. Hey, yeah, Watson. He struggled in that first half, but you guys really need Deshaun Watson to step up. So yes.
Yeah. He
but
had 289 and a couple touchdowns.
That's good.
He also had that inexplicable backwards throw, which oh no, I guess Elijah Moore just had a different fumble. I was gonna say they put it on Elijah Moore, but that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Really
84 people in here. 84 people in here. Hit that like button. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. If you are a Colts fan to come in here, celebrate, welcome, congratulations. That's a great win for you guys. That's your backup quarterback, a depleted team getting a win on the road. You're 2-1 now. So salute to you guys. Matt D says hello. Great situational football. Eyes rolling. Yeah. Yeah. Will G, what's going on? Says Monken can't execute the play. Also, he called the right play. Lamar threw the ball behind Zay on third and moved the change. Punt wide open and likely dropped the pass by Lamar. But you know what though? I think that play, that ball that went behind Zay Flowers, I think that was on Zay Flowers, because as soon as that play was over, Lamar was on him and they're talking about it, and I think he thought he's supposed to do one thing. Lamar saying, "No, you're supposed to do this." I think that was on Zay Flowers. I know exactly what play you're talking about, but like we said, those are the type of things I'm talking about, right? Lack of execution, lack of understanding. And then you follow that up with a drop by Isaiah Likely, right? You follow it up with a pass interference that doesn't get called. And that's not on our team. But again, man, it's we're always putting ourselves in these situations where it comes down to that.
And listen, you can say that you made the right calls there. That's a couple plays. We're talking about the entire game, right? And they play too conservatively to make any mistakes. And that's just not a realistic way to play. You're going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Jacqueline? She says, hello, everyone. Salute to you. Thanks for coming through.
I'll tell you when he made the wrong call, when he called a draw for Lamar with a line they can't block.
Right. And he gets sacked. He didn't even get to a point where he can start running. He was still standing, dropping back in the pocket.
Play.
Right. Add to Pop says, why every time the Ravens lose, they blame Lamar? He gave you multiple chances to win, and the rest missed 2 calls on Zay, and Isaiah likely dropped an easy pass. Like, how do you drop that? Man, no, it's not Lamar's fault. I don't blame. Ultimately, I blame John Harbaugh. Ultimately, I blame John Harbaugh. He has to get this team, if they were ready to play, would have won that game easily. Right? Mm-hmm. They weren't ready to play. Right? It's obvious. Look, I talked about Pat McCarry. Pat McCarry didn't look like this last week when they played the Bengals. You know why? Because the Bengals, I think a lot of people expected them to win. It's on the road. You got Joe Burrow, right? You got Jamar Chase. Like that is a much tougher competition. That is a division game. And they understood you can't go in there and slack off. Like we have to be all hands on deck. We have to perform. Right? What happened, B?
I looked earlier a little while ago while we were talking, and the Chiefs were up 14-0. And I just glanced at the score again. It's 31-0.
I see it. We're going to go over scores here in a second. The Panthers are up, by the way, at halftime, 13-12. So we got to keep an eye on that score. Another score of note, like B mentioned, the Dolphins 70-20 over the Broncos. They just kept saying more. Your boy Robbie Chosen got a touchdown.
It was from Mike White. It was hilarious too, because and I saw a tweet from the guy 4Verts. I forget who the journalist was, but they were talking about Miami and how they had a chance to break the record for most points in the game, and they chose not to kick a field goal. Classy move. And he was like Mike White throwing bombs to Chosen Anderson up 56-13. This is sportsmanship. and listen, that was stupid. If you have a chance to break a record like that, go break it. You're never going to be in that position again.
No. But don't leave anything on the field, man. Go out there and crush your opponent. But the way we try to win today, look, we probably should have won 22-19. That's exactly how John Harbaugh would have wanted it. If Justin Tucker had made that 61-yard field goal attempt, he was just short.
Yeah,
he was just short. Had he made that, we won 22-19. Everybody would be happy. Media would be happy. He'd be happy. And he would have said, "It ain't pretty, but it's us." Right. And he would act like that's exactly how I drew it up. But and it's how he draws it up, because he played for the 60-yard field goal.
Yeah, that's what they want. Like I said, they want to win. It's a famous thing from Ron Rivera when he was coaching in Carolina. He wants to win 7-6. Why? Why would you ever want to win by a 1-point margin? Like, why would you play for that? And Diallo, no. Drake's fumble did not lose the game. Not even a little bit.
No, we went up after that.
Yeah.
Anytime you go up after a turnover, man, you can't. I mean, you got to dismiss that stuff.
And that happened so early in the game. Like, is that like no? That's not what that.
We were
anything.
We were up when he fumbled, right? It was still 7-0, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, that had no bearing on the game whatsoever.
But look, I mean, look, there's blame to go all around in this game. You got some blame for Lamar. You got blame for the O-line. You got blame for the receivers. Not a whole lot for the defense. There's some blame for that front. They can't get any pressure. But overall, otherwise the defense played fine. But I think again, the most blame, not even to Harbaugh, is to go to Eric DeCosta still.
Yeah.
Because why is Pat McCarry your backup everything on the line? He's not a good left tackle.
K-Wick, salute.
Salute. What's up, K-Wick?
K-Wick is a Colts fan. Congrats. Yes.
Congrats on the win.
Yes.
Look, I'm not saying that Pat McCarry is a bad O-lineman. He's an extremely valuable O-lineman because you can plug him in at any spot and expect a certain level of play, right? So it does make him very valuable. But you shouldn't just be sitting here like, oh, well, we don't need any backup tackles because we have Pat McCarry, right? That's ridiculous. Having Sam Mustipher be your backup center, kind of ridiculous. Right, saying, "Hey, we lost J.K. Dobbins. We're going to replace and Justice Hill. We're going to replace him with Kenyon Drake," is ridiculous. And look, Cleveland did a similar thing when they worked out a few running backs, and then they ultimately signed Kareem Hunt, who used to play for them and lives 10 minutes from the stadium. Like, why are we all playing the convenience bowl? Right, yeah. Go get the best player. They'll all get on a plane. They'll come to you. They'll rent a place. I mean, it's ridiculous to me. Like,
yeah,
that they sit and they say, "Hey, we probably have talent in this."
Yeah,
no, you probably do.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Hendo from the Road Pod. He was at the game. He says, "Who got it better than us? Maybe the Colts right now." Yeah, he left early thinking the game was in hand after we got the safety because it should have been. We didn't even talk about that part of it. And Hendo made the right move. Get ahead of that traffic because you didn't want to see that debacle in overtime. But the safety should have been the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
There was just a little bit over 2 minutes left. You get a safety. They had to punt the ball off. And for whatever reason, Duvernay does a fair catch. Like
K-Wick. So naive.
He says
so funny.
The
Kenyon Drake move was smart. He was on the Colts in the preseason. I assume it was a scouting move. No, K-Wick. No. Yeah. He played for the Ravens. That's what it was.
Yeah. He played for Ravens last year.
And they
or year before.
And when I say they, I mean Eric DeCosta. They don't do their due diligence. They don't like to do anything, that'll be a little too taxing for them. They don't like to go out and search for talent because that takes up time. They call the people they know. That's the same reason Melvin Gordon's on the team. They worked him out last year and they say, "Hey, let's call Melvin back."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, no,
Hendo, it was before the 2-minute warning when they punted the ball back after the safety because Duvernay called a fair catch. And when he called a fair catch, it was 2 minutes and 1 second left. And the announcers were like, "Yo, why did he do that? You catch the ball, you run it a little bit, and then it's 2-minute warning, and that takes away timeout for them." So they have the 2-minute warning because we have to run a play. 2-minute warning happens. They only take one second off, right? Then we had
they ran a play and they called a timeout.
They ran a play, called timeout, and then We ran another play, but then there was a penalty on it, so it stopped the clock. So they get the ball back with 1 minute and 46 seconds left.
Yeah.
What? I mean, in that time, the Ravens got like 4 yards. So this time when he put the ball, it's much better field position. I mean, all kinds of things went wrong in that game, but it all goes back to coaching. I'm sorry, I can't. Ultimately, that's
it was Zay on the fair catch.
It was Zay on the fair catch. Dumb play. And of course, one of the plays when the game's almost over, we have like 18 seconds or whatever, 30 seconds, and Lamar takes a sack, right, instead of throwing the ball away. Lots of boneheaded stuff that, again, if you guys are on the same page, you understand what you need to do there. But because he's in the mindset of I had to make a play instead of running the play, right? That's how you get mistakes like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is it for Harbaugh, as far as I'm concerned, man. Like, if we don't win it all this year, I think he has to go very far in the playoffs, at least AFC Championship game, to convince this organization to keep him, for Steve Bashai to keep him. If he doesn't get at least there, where else are you going to go with him? There's nowhere else to go. Like, you got to get somebody else in there.
I kind of think it's the opposite, honestly. I think they're ready to draw up an extension, and he has to do something spectacular to mess it up. Because
you could be right.
I don't see any urgency at all from this organization, and haven't in a very, very, very long time. Yeah. They just don't care about doing what they need to do to win. They don't care at all.
Yeah.
And look, maybe I'll be very optimistic and say maybe this will be a wake up call for them. It never is, but maybe they'll make a move, in the next week. Maybe Kenyon Drake won't be the third running back when we see the Ravens again.
Yeah. What's going on, Danny? Danny says, unfortunately, I can't join the live now, but I just wanted to say Harbaugh should be ashamed of himself for the time management in the last 2 minutes. Just disgraceful coaching. Hey, salute, Danny. You're absolutely right. All right, we got 90 people in here. Look, we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, I think. Let me double check. Yeah. So, wherever you're watching, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. All right. Who else we got in here? Man, you guys got a lot to say. You got a lot to say. Kylie on Wheels says clock management was terrible. Ravens have done that a lot in the past. Yeah, which is why we were never high on Harbaugh. All right. The 100 says Harb's second half special every year, 10 years straight. Absolutely. K Wick says Zaire Franklin with 45 tackles in 3 games. He definitely getting a random drug test. Hey man, you guys look. Quiddy Pay was on it too. Right.
I hope Zaire passes it because he's on my fantasy team too. But you know what my favorite part about this game was too? And I don't know who the announcer was, but the announcer who was out there while both teams were stalling repeatedly in the middle of the field, insisting that both kickers could hit a 70-yarder. And they don't even need to gain any more yards. Yeah, you want to, but hey, what's his name? Justin Tucker can hit from 70. I've seen him do it. And the other guy, Matt Gay, he can hit from 70. He's made 350 plus yarders today. I'm like, what? Those are different numbers, bro. Like, I don't understand.
They played to get their kicker into 53, within 53 yards. We played to get our kicker within 65 yards. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Justin Tucker
limping, hurt his ankle. Good thing they're already up 31.
Right. The thing is, yes, Tucker can hit that, but it shouldn't have to come down to that. You shouldn't have to play for that, right?
It's the same thing that we always say about Lamar, right? Justin Tucker can make those field goals. It's a ridiculous thing to continually ask him to do it.
Yes. And honestly, when we didn't do it in overtime, right? You punt the ball away. It's like if you're asking him to do it in regulation, try him out there and try it again. Right? You think he can make it, right? Yeah. Okay, he'll get it this time because it was right down the middle. It was just a little bit short. Right? Hey, you know what you need to do this time. Go hit it. Right? It just no, AGE, I don't look depressed. What are you talking about? No, I don't look depressed. You listen, me and B have been saying this about Harbaugh and EDC for a while, right? You guys are just catching up to us. All right. Yeah, it's frustrating. I don't like to see the Ravens lose, but this doesn't surprise us at all. At all. Spooky J says, should have ran the ball on that 3rd and 3 if we knew we were going to go for it anyway. That's a good point. Yep.
I mean, your tight end could just catch it.
Or he can catch it. Yeah. Yeah, look, we play like we're scared to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. We play like we still play like we don't practice passing the ball. I don't care if Odell's out. I don't care if Bateman's out. I don't care who's out. You all practice the same offense. So no matter who's in there, you should be able to execute the same way. You're not going to perform the same way because you're not as skilled as a starters, but you should be able to execute the same way because you're all practicing the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you get. So that's how you get guys like Demarcus Robinson, who people believe could play when he was with the Chiefs. Byron Pringle, those type of players where they have a couple of games where they blow up because they're just doing what they've been coached to do. And they're going to have a couple big games, right? And other people believe, hey, well, that guy can play. Go get him, right? He can play in that system. He can do exactly what he was coached to do. He executed that, but he's not, he's not going to be a game changer for your team. We don't coach that way on offense. What are you doing?
They don't coach that way on offense, defense, or special teams. No. I was rolling on this. I just got a notification that Jonathan Mingo's out for the rest of the game. So that's cool. And I mean, it's not a huge loss. I mean, the Mingo can't catch apparently anyway, but still, you don't like to see that.
You know what, B? So I just look at the scores. I'm saying let's go over the scores for the rest of the league, right? And I noticed right before I was looking at the scores, I was like, there's somebody missing from the chat that definitely should be in here. And his name is Warbone.
And he was definitely on his way, except a funny thing happened on the way to the stream.
Yeah, Warbone is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and they're down right now 21-10. I was like, man, something's off. I know somebody's gonna come in here and troll us.
And Dak has the exact same average as Josh Dobbs right now. So that's pretty cool.
Look, so a whole second half, what's funny, man? Like I like the Cowboys. I like Dak. You know that, right? But man, Cowboys fans, they can get delusional. I mean, every fan base can, to be honest. But yeah, man, Cardinals up 21-10 at half. Josh Dobbs 12 for 15, 95 yards. Dak Prescott 12 for 18, 102 yards. One touchdown though. One touchdown. Mm-hmm. No, hey, no interceptions. The interceptions are big, right? Right.
You know what's really hilarious to me is that he's going to end up being right that he throws fewer than 10 interceptions, and then he's just going to fall 1,500 yards short of his estimate on the yards.
He's going to have 23 touchdowns. He's going to have a Matt Castle type of season.
Because he was laughing about Bryce Young, and like Dak ain't throwing for too many more yards than Bryce. he's under 200 a game.
Yeah.
But hey, look, he's got an opportunity in the second half to really bump up those numbers because they are once again losing to the Cardinals at halftime.
Yeah. So Darius Clark says Lamar should never have to run for 100 yards. No, I agree. Right? Like this difference between he ran for 100 yards and he needed to run for those 100 yards. Like he needed those yards to keep those drives moving, which is, I think, it's pretty pathetic, man. Like every now and then, if it's no disrespect, K Wick, but like if it's higher level competition, right? If we're playing like
he knows who he roots for.
Yeah, if we're playing like if we're playing not the Giants, the Eagles, we're playing the Eagles, we're playing the 49ers, we're playing the Chiefs, and it's coming down to it. And man, like we just gotta move because we're trying to keep up with them, whatever, and we gotta make sure we put points on the board. And Lamar's just doing what he has to do out there. That's a little bit different. But when you're playing a Colts team that doesn't have the starting quarterback, running back, center, who else? They had a long list of players that were out. And you're doing that at the start of the second half, or near the start of the second half because you're stalling coming out the second half and you need something going and you're already going to, hey, Lamar's got to run the ball. That just shows you early on that you don't have anything, right? You don't have any answers. It's just, hey, Lamar, just make something happen, please, so we can get back on top. He makes that happen. And the defense didn't play bad. I know I saw somebody in the chat earlier talking about Brandon Stevens. I don't think Brandon Stevens played bad. I don't think anybody really played bad on defense. They gave up one touchdown. I mean, that was a bad play by Patrick Queen. I thought he could have made a better play on it, but that's it. The rest were field goals. They did what they needed to do. You have to be able to outscore a team that only puts up 19 points in regulation. Yeah. Nitty Baltimore says this loss is solely on the O-line. The front seven beat the hell out of our O-line. I watched them just get drove up into Lamar. I agree.
I don't agree that it's solely on them, but
it's not solely. But I agree the O-line played that bad.
Yeah.
No, look, if one group's going to get sole blame, it's the coaching staff. That's it. It's the coaching staff. You know who you have. You know who you're trotting out there. This team is handpicked, right? It's not players that just fell into the lap. They handpicked these guys. Pat McCarty's been in this offense for how long? He's been on the team for how long?
Ever.
Right. So you know exactly what you have in Pat McCarty. I don't want to hear it. Right? He didn't play that way last week. Right? He didn't play that way last week. What happened this week?
I don't know. And I'm waiting for the explanation for going into year 6 without getting a great running back when all you want to do is run the ball.
Mm-hmm. You have running backs this offseason that are available. Okay. Josh Jacobs looking for a new contract. You got Saquon Barkley looking for a new contract. You got Jonathan Taylor, who is looking for a trade partner right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
As is Austin Eckler. Christian McCaffrey was traded halfway through last season. I mean, you said it many times. If that's what you want to be, then go be that.
Yeah.
But they're not even doing that.
Thank you, Booger Sauce, for the great analysis. Appreciate that. Let's see. Keenan Ricketts, what's going on? Says can't get running backs. We're too cheap.
You can get them in the draft too.
Hey, and you know what? You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
What's going on? Jeremy says they turned off America's Game of the Week, Bears and Chiefs. Let's do a quick score update, man. Let's do a quick score update. And we're gonna be quick because you got to get back to your game.
Real quick.
All right. So what we have? We got where are we? Okay.
The Panthers are now losing 15-13.
Okay, that's still close. Lions beat the Falcons 20-6. All right.
That's right.
Are the Lions are they 3-0?
No.
They lost the game?
They lost to Seattle in overtime.
That's right, they did. Chargers pulled it out, B. I was a little nervous for them because they were up big, and I don't know what happened, but they end up winning 28-24. B, the Packers did it.
They sure did.
Jordan Love did it.
They sure did. It wasn't looking great for my picks where I said I needed Detroit to win. I needed Green Bay to win. Detroit, they heard the call, right? They're not overly talented, but they play their little lion hearts out, man. They really do. Green Bay says screw you for 3 full quarters, and then they're like, all right, we joking. We were joking. But you know what happened is Derek Carr got hurt. Jameis Winston had to finish the game, and that was apparently the turning point.
So Jordan Love finished the game. I'm looking right now. He finished the game 22 of 44. Great. Not great.
No, he's not good.
259 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he had a rushing touchdown. I think Jordan Love, look, he's going to be fine. The Texans
he'll be fine when Christian Watson comes back.
This surprised me. Texans beat Jaguars 37-17.
I was pretty surprised, not because I think that Jacksonville is a great team or anything like that, but I just thought they were the best team in that division. They were going to win it by default. And how could you lose by 20 to rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, second-year running back, rookie wide receiver? I mean, you get the idea, right? Yeah. It's a very young team, and they should not have beaten you.
We already know the Dolphins score. Dolphins Broncos 70-20. I mean,
2 running backs scored 4 touchdowns in that game, and both of them played for Miami.
Those are the type of games that will lose your team for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they lost the defense midway through this one.
Yeah.
Because every time the score came back around on the ticker, Miami had another touchdown.
Yep. Browns win over the Titans 27-3. The Bills beat Commanders 37-3. We're talking about the Colts now, 22-19 overtime. Patriots beat the Jets 15-10.
Yeah.
Man. And you got
Ezekiel Elliott had 80 yards though.
Nice. And Seahawks and Panthers are battling it out. Seahawks are up 15-13. Chiefs, this one is already over 34-0. And then the Cardinals are still up 21-10. Oh man, yeah, Warbone. Listen, I still you got time.
It's not gonna hold.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna hold. It better not hold. Our guy P Brownie, hey man, we've had you in our thoughts, my brother. And no, it's not P Brownie, P Brown the third. Yes. We've had you in our thoughts, man. Prayers to you and your family, man. He says poor execution today, poor game management, players and coaches at fault today. Yeah. I mean, again, but that's my whole thing. When the whole team is looking sloppy, there's one person to blame: head coach. Yeah. Because if they were firing on all cylinders, we'd be giving Harbaugh all his props by how well the team was looking and how he's doing a great job despite the injuries and all that stuff. So it all has a fall at his feet, man. It's your job to get them ready, especially coming out the second half. It's one thing first half. All right, man, we're looking a little sloppy, bad weather, got some players out. We think we're going to steamroll this team, but they're giving us more resistance. We got to tighten it up, right?
And then they came out for a drive and they did. And then they're like, that should do it.
Yeah. Nitty says we can't block it up. We should have gotten a younger tackle. We got the young center. They got killed. We got the younger tackle and then we traded them. Right? Y'all didn't want Orlando Brown here. I'd rather have Orlando Brown playing left tackle than Pat McCarry. I damn sure would rather have him playing right tackle than Morgan Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So get your players and then pay them. Right. Yeah. I want young talent too. I also want them to pay their young talent. Yeah. Jeremy says Mike McDaniel chose not to go for the field goal, which would have broken the record, which is 72, which I think is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. For what? So a couple of journalists and fans will go on Twitter and say, "Oh, he's classy." Nobody gonna remember that. You you took that away from all those players.
You think Denver is going to respect you a little bit more because you dropped 70 and not 73?
And again, as Forverse pointed out on Twitter, when you threw a 60-some yard touchdown pass when you were already up 56-13, they're gonna feel sour towards you regardless. Okay?
Yeah. No. You tell guys, hey, we're going for greatness. We want to set records. We want to put our greatness on display. We're gonna do it. And anybody have a problem about it? Hey, look, man, stop us. This is exactly what the Patriots were doing. I don't know if you guys remember when the Patriots were doing this to people.
Oh yeah, and they're reaping it now. But they won 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
and they said, "Come stop us."
And they were very unapologetic about it.
And nobody could do it.
And
nobody could do it.
And teams were mad about it. They're like, "So what?" What are you going to do?
And the Ravens did it to keep their little rushing streak going, and really angered
against Denver.
I was gonna say really angered that Broncos coach, and Ravens fans thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody thinks. Entertain us. Go get that record. Do it for your team. But yeah, all right. Still 8 people in here, man. You guys want to get it off your chest today. That was an ugly loss. At home.
Yeah, indeed.
Now the rest of the schedule, and again, because it's Harbaugh, it's not giving me. This should have been one of the easy wins, and we should have rattled off about 6 or 7 wins in a row. Looking at the schedule, I don't have it in front of me, but looked at it the other night, and I'm like, the way this league is shaping up right now, we could probably hit like 6 or 7 games before we come across our first loss. But Harbaugh said, let's knock it out right now. Let's get that loss out the way right now. But as it stands, man, look, we're still tied for first. We're tied with the Browns. Oh, you glitched up for a second. We're tied with the Browns. They got a win today, but this team is much better than this. This is just what they do when they're playing, what they see as lesser opponents. But next week, I'm not sure who they're playing next week, but if it's a division game, I expect them, if it's the Browns, I'm not sure when we play them. I expect us to step up a lot better. If it's a winning team, I know we got to play like the Lions and
Cleveland.
It's Cleveland. Okay, so I expect us to show up for that game.
Pittsburgh the next 2 weeks.
So the next 2 weeks, I think you're going to see us on full display, right? I think you'll see a much better version of us because those are 2 division wins. They're important. We get those 2 wins, we are high up there.
They should win their next 6.
They should
6 or 7, but Baltimore doesn't do that. So
if we win, just take a little bit of time. We win the next 2, 3-0 in division.
They're at Cleveland, at Pittsburgh, and then home for Tennessee and Detroit, and at Arizona, and then home for Seattle, and then they got Cleveland again, Cincinnati. But just showing up every week and playing to the best of your ability is not the Raven way.
Yeah. All right. I
want to say to Ferris in the comments, don't cheer for the Cardinals beating the Cowboys.
Oh wait, where did you say that?
He was up here. This is referring to that game.
He said, "I ain't fun. It ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun." Of course he's going to cheer. Of course he is. Because if they beat the Cardinals and then the Cowboys lose to the Cardinals, he can he's gonna have fun with he's gonna have fun with Caleb on the show.
Yeah, and Coach is right here. The Tennessee game is in London, so it's not home, but it's home for the purpose of the schedule.
Okay, all right.
But y'all can't win at home anyway, so better for y'all.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Speed Maverick Garage. What's going on? Thanks for joining the live stream. Says the Colts aren't as bad as media have portrayed them as. The front 7 is one of the better in the league. The O-line has got it back together. They're not portrayed as a bad team.
And the O-line gave up 5 sacks today.
Yeah. And Gardner Minshew is not good.
No,
right? So they should have been favored to lose. Absolutely. But, you got the win. That's why you play the game. So, like I said, salute to you guys. You got the win. But they were accurately portrayed this week.
Yeah, they're not a good team.
Yeah. Let's see. Missed field goal in the Carolina game. Will G is giving you an update there. Yeah. All right. We're going to get out of here, man. But final thoughts. Look, again, I put it on Harbaugh. I put it on EDC. I really put this on EDC because these players, man, should be a lot. The players that you guys are really pissed off about, I heard Brandon Stevens, I hear you guys talking about the pass rush isn't there. Well, a lot was put into the pass rush. right? You didn't want to pay Judon. You didn't want to pay Yannick Ngakoue. You didn't want to pay Zadarius Smith, right? You let those guys go. You draft Owe. Ojabo went out the game. I'm not sure if he came back in the game, right? But those are guys that you're drafting and saying, hey, these guys are going to be the future. And they're not doing well. There's not. We drafted Patrick Queen, and then we had to go and spend $100 million on Roquan because Queen just wasn't as good as CJ Mosley. And he was supposed to be better, right? The O-line. I mean, I still think Ronnie Stanley is the way to go. I still think, when he's healthy, he's one of the best left tackles in the league. I think he's going to be fine this year moving forward. He got dinged up, him and Tyler Linderbaum. I'm not concerned about the injury, but I know a lot of people are just tired of him missing all this time and saying move on from him. Well, move on to what? Because this team, your GM, hasn't prepared this team to move on from Ronnie Stanley, and is showing it right now. So, like it or not, you're stuck with Ronnie Stanley. So there's so many holes on the team that shouldn't be here based off the draft picks that we've had for the last 5 years. So that's all on EDC, man. Stop making excuses for him. Stop making excuses for Harbaugh. They're not doing their job. Right now, it's not by no means a death sentence for the team. Okay, still have high expectations for the team, but this is a major concern because I do think we're a playoff team, and these type of games are what's going to be going through my mind when we go to the playoffs. Are they going to be ready? So, all right, we got to get out of here, man. Any last thoughts, B?
No, just a ugly game for Baltimore. But like you said, it's not a season-altering, outcome or anything like that. Got to get it together. They got to get healthy, and they have a lot of very, very winnable games coming up on their schedule. So,
yeah,
they'll be fine.
All right. Now's a quick one. We'll be back on Wednesday. If you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back actually tomorrow on Coach's channel for the Ravens Roundup. So make sure you guys are subscribed to Sip to Tally Films. That's what the logo looks like. Go over there, subscribe to Sip to Tally. You will see us. You will see Hendo from the Rogue Pod. That's him. It's not coming up. There we go. You got Hendo from the Rogue Pod. You got Chris from Deep Cover Podcast. There we go. This thing's moving slow. And you got us, and you have Open Mic with OTR Mike. Okay. All of us will be on the Ravens Roundup tomorrow. We're going to break it down. We're going to have a lot to discuss, and then come back here Wednesday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time for the LBHT show. We'll be discussing Ravens. We'll be discussing Panthers. We'll be discussing some upcoming things in boxing and UFC world, a little bit of basketball, all that good stuff. We'll talk about that on this show. All right. So, all right, B, are you ready?
I'm ready.
He is ready. Hey, tough loss, but it's not the end of the world. Go enjoy some more football. Put this behind us. We're on to Cleveland. All right. We're on to Cleveland. So have a great night. Enjoy your week coming up, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.